Just that I end up with a lot of people from social services referred to me. Have you had any other cases exactly like this one? Exactly no. None? You say that with some emphasis. Well, I am not sure any cases exactly alike that I have ever had. Do you feel that you are qualified to testify as an expert in this case? By definition of, how would you define? I am not sure I can answer that unless I know what you mean. But I am not sure by definition what you are looking for. I have no further questions, Your Honor. I would ask Mrs. Gary be qualified as an expert witness, Your Honor. Motion denied if the witness doesn't know the standard for expertise. I am not sure I know what he means. There is nothing pending. When you qualified as an expert witness in the other cases, did the court qualify you at that time? Immediately, no question. I wasn't asked if I felt I was qualified. I would ask you again, do you feel that you are qualified to testify as an expert witness in this matter? Yes. Would the court be interested in the names of the other cases that Ms. Gary has testified in? No, I know of no provision in the law that says an expert qualified in a previous case automatically qualifies in a subsequent case. Each case is different upon its merits. Do you have anything else about her qualifications? Would you answer that question differently, Ms. Gary? Do you feel you are qualified as an expert witness in this matter? Yes. I would make a motion that Ms. Gary be qualified as an expert witness in this matter. Mr. Land, I would object on the grounds the court pointed out, Your Honor. Ms. Gary's experience, while I am sure she is experienced in her field, her experience as a witness in the courtroom situation is very limited. She doesn't understand what she is supposed to be an expert in. Therefore, how can she qualify? Well, if we follow the theory that you are postulating, then all of the people who have previous court testimony would be grandfathered in. Eventually, when we get to that date, when they all pass away, there would be no expert. It's the court's understanding a person can be qualified by 1, education, 2, experience. She has testified and she has not been challenged that she has a master's degree from Tulane. She has now testified she feels comfortable as an expert. It goes to the weight of her testimony and not the admissibility. You may inquire. Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Gary, do you know Mrs. Rondinera and Sarah? Yes. Could you tell the court how the first instance of your meeting or contact with Mrs. Rondinera? Yes. She was referred to me by a client who had not come to me for her children but for herself. And when Mary called me, she called me and told me that her and her husband, ex-husband, had joint custody and that she had received a phone call from her daughter and that she didn't want to stay and was crying. And that Mary was concerned that she may not handle the situation herself as appropriately as she would like to. So she'd like to come in for herself for some short-term therapy so that she didn't add in any way to the anxiety that she felt her daughter was already experiencing. And at any time during her initial conversation with you, did she indicate that she wanted to change the custody arrangement? No. It was her indication to you that she wanted to learn how to handle it? Yes. And help Sarah handle it? Yes. Now, did you see her immediately? No. And why is that? Because I went on vacation. Now, did you have subsequent telephone conversations with Mrs. Rondinera? Yes. Now, did Mrs. Rondinera ever indicate to you her anxiety with Sarah concerning the tricks, the alleged tricks? We have already had one conference in chambers. Please do not lead any of these witnesses in anything that is material to this case. I realize Mr. Land did not object, but that is only because he does not have to make the decision. Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Did you ever see Sarah? Yes. When did you see Sarah? On 8/25. Why did you see Sarah? Because I received a phone call after I got back from vacation on around 8/14, just around 8/14. My dates differed from Mary's. And she had, from the phone call, she had some concerns and wasn't quite sure what they meant. I felt that she had some concerns which concerned me. And she shared with me the things that have already been talked about. And I said that I thought I'd like to have Sarah come in and do an evaluation. How many times did you see Sarah? 11. Did you have conversations with Sarah? Yes. And in those conversations, what did Sarah tell you? From the first two, that is correct. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. I will have to have the question overruled. You mean, you want me to go into the details of it? Yes. Well, on the first evaluation, when she came in with her mother, this was after she returned from her father's house. The second time, I just asked her, I told her that her mother reported to me that that her father had taught her some tricks, and had he taught her some tricks? And she said yes. And I asked her if she would show me or tell me, because someone wants to talk about it rather than use play therapy, that's even better. So she picked up a doll that had clothes on, all my dolls do, and spread the doll's legs. And then she spread the doll's legs. But then she proceeded to verbally tell me that what she had to do at her father's house. She put the doll down, got on her hips, spread her legs, wiggled them while slapping her behind. She then told me verbally that she had to squeeze the thing, pointed to her vagina sometimes, and I asked her what she was wearing at these times. She said she was naked for 2 of the tricks. When she had to do the wiggling trick, though, she wore her jogging shorts. I asked her if her father ever touched her there. I pointed to the doll's vagina. She said yes. I asked her what her father did when she did her tricks. She told me he would get under the covers naked and watch her. She asked me if I thought her thing was ugly. Was that during the first session? That's just about verbatim as I took notes. I was writing this as it was going on. During this session, she also told me that she did not want to see her father ever again. And she also didn't want to leave my office and asked me if she could come back soon. I reported this within 24 hours to social services. This was my first session. Could you describe your subsequent sessions? Mrs. Minkeys, in light of the hour, since that concludes the events of the first session, I think we should take our afternoon recess. We will reconvene at 8:30 in the morning. I will have to ask you to return. Court will be in recess. Thank you, Your Honor. And thank you, Your Honor. In the marriage of Klieger, I understand we have a stipulation in this matter to have a child custody investigation. And based upon that stipulation, we are going to recess the trial to allow that child custody investigation to be completed. Let's talk about the child custody investigation first. Mr. and Mrs. Klieger, please listen to the questions because I want to make sure you understand them. You understand, do you, that this is not a free service and that both of you will be required to pay 1/2 of the total charges, or one of you may be required to pay all of the charges, and that is a decision that will be made after the report is received. The decision is based upon several factors. One is the financial ability, or both, or either parent, and the degree of cooperation and the spirit of cooperation of the parents entering into the child custody investigation, just so you are not misled. Understanding that, Mr. Klieger, do you want me to sign this order that there will be a child custody investigation? Yes, I do. Mrs. Klieger, do you want me to sign the order? Yes, I do. Now, that will be the order of the court on that issue. Now, you have also entered into a stipulation concerning Sarah and the visitation of Sarah during the interim period. That stipulation also provides that you will not take your daughter Sarah, who is 4 1/2, to the mental health professionals who have already testified in this trial. Do you understand that, Mr. Klieger? Yes. Mrs. Klieger? Yes. Okay, this is a 200 for voice for 15 minutes. We are in cross-examination by defense attorney. Defense attorney is Mr. McCoy, MC, capital C-O-Y. Plaintiff's attorney is Mr. Siciliano, S-I-C-I-L-I-A-N-O. Okay, ready? 200 for voice, 15 minutes. Question by defense. All right. right, and the $30 figure was based upon your belief that that's what the surgery would cost? On my loss of time, on the hospitalization, on surgery after treatment, and I didn't feel that even it would cover this, what in our days we have to pay on medical and hospital bills. Did you ever ask Mr. Hill how much insurance Mr. Love had? No. While you were negotiating during that almost a year, you didn't ask him what kind of policy or how much coverage is there. There was no such conversation between us about Mr. Love and Mr. Hill, only told me that State Farm is going to pay for all the bills. I shouldn't worry about anything. And I believe you also said that Mr. Hill told you that the State Farm never settled with people until they were all well. Yes, that is correct. That's what he said. Even if it took years and years, is that your impression? He didn't mention years and years. He only said that they are not settling with people until they are all well. All right. And I was still under doctor's care. Now, you had some conversations with Mr. Hill about some of your bills already being paid by Blue Cross. Yes. Now, what were those conversations all about? In other words, you talked to him at various times about certain of your bills and whether they had been paid or not. Well, I can't remember every conversation. We conversed back and forth every week, sometimes twice a week. I cannot remember what those conversations all was. This is 4 years ago. I believe you mentioned earlier you had a conversation with him concerning the fact that your medical pay coverage with Dr. Shipley's office had expired. I believe you had mentioned that. Yes, because I wasn't able to go back to work. Do you recall that conversation? Yes, I recall this conversation. Didn't you have other conversations with him about the medical pay coverage with Automobile Club? I don't remember the Automobile Club that I had this conversation with him. Well, the Automobile Club, Mr. Dunlap's carrier, paid some of your medical bills, didn't they? I don't remember. I didn't know that until I came to this courtroom that the Automobile Club paid anything for my medical bills. You didn't know that the Automobile Club paid Dr. Horst? No. And you learned that for the first time here in court? Yes. Have you ever discussed the payment of your bills with your now husband, Mr. Dunlap? Payment of your bills by Automobile Club. Have you ever talked to him about that? I don't recall that I did. Now, you were very concerned about the fact that these bills were building up? Yes. And you didn't know how you were going to be able to pay them, right? No, I didn't. Okay. And I take it that that means that you just didn't have the money then to pay these bills? No, I didn't. Now, after Mr. Hill said, according to you, "Ha ha, lady, you missed the boat," you began to feel nervous and upset. Is that right? That is correct. Is that the first time that you felt nervous and upset following this case? No. I felt nervous and upset through the whole year because there was never any settlement offered or anything. Well, you didn't know then about the at least partial payments of the bill by the two other insurance companies, Blue Cross and Automobile Club. I know that my Blue Cross or Blue Shield, whatever it was, paid the doctor. Yes, I know that. Do you know, but I didn't know that Automobile Club paid any of my bills. I don't remember. Okay, now, on the day that, according to you, Mr. Hill said, "Ha ha, lady, you missed the boat," you then contacted Dr. Mr. Siciliano. Promote him, yes. And following that, he sent you to Dr. Drucker, correct? No. He sent me to Dr. Turkin. Well, all right. He sent you to Dr. Turkin, but he also sent you to Dr. Drucker, correct? Afterwards, yes. And then Dr. Drucker sent you to Dr. Malo, All right. And then Dr. Drucker also sent you to him to be treated? Yes. Right? Correct. Did you ever return to Dr. Horst after you retained an attorney? Did you ever go back to him for treatment? I don't remember. Did this doctor at some point after this accident and before you retained him tell you that he had done everything for you that he could? I don't remember. Well, What do you remember as being the last date that you saw Dr. Horst? I don't remember the last day when I seen Dr. Horst. Well, perhaps I can help your memory a little bit. Now, you had the accident and you saw Dr. Horst after some period of time following the accident. You worked about 3 weeks and didn't Dr. Horst then put you in the hospital? Yes, sir. Okay, and after you got out of the hospital, you treated with Dr. Horst for a while. I went back to his office for treatments. Yes, all right. And along about that time, was it your divorce final? Yes. And you then almost immediately married Mr. Dunlap. Not after 3 days like you said yesterday. Well, when was it? 4 days a week? It was after 3 months. All right. And then you and Mr. Dunlap left on a rather extended trip back east, right? What do you mean by that? Well, didn't you go on a sort of honeymoon trip with your new husband, Mr. Dunlap, after you were married? We was on a honeymoon trip for a day and a half in Las Vegas, if that's what you mean. Didn't you take a trip back to Pennsylvania? I asked the doctor if it would be if my husband's father got very ill and if we could go and see him. Dr. Horst told me if I wear the collar and every time I get tired or sick, if my husband is going, stop and have me relax, I could go on that trip. I was advised by the doctor to do so, not on my own. Dr. Horst advised you to go on this trip back to Pennsylvania? Yes. And that trip was a trip by automobile. Wasn't it? Yes, it was in an automobile. So you and your husband drove then from Los Angeles back to Pennsylvania and spent some time back there. We spent about a week back there. All right. And then when you returned, you saw Dr. Horst again? I think I did. All right. I'm not sure. Wasn't it about at this time, Mrs. Dunlap, that Dr. Horst, the doctor that treated you for the first accident, and the one that treated you immediately after this accident told you that he could do more for you? I don't recall that. You don't recall him saying to you in those words or in others of similar meaning that he couldn't treat you anymore, that he'd done everything he could. Do you recall that at all? I don't recall it. Well, what do you recall about your reasons, assuming you had one, for stopping treatment with the doctor? Because I didn't get better. As a matter of fact, I got worse, and I like to have other doctors' opinions before I get into some more surgeries, spinal surgeries. Well, how long after the accident was it that you stopped going to Dr. Horst? I don't remember. Was it after the trip to Pennsylvania? It was, wasn't it? I don't remember. You don't remember it was before or after? I think it was after. All right. I'm not sure. Well, you told us earlier that Dr. Horst was the one that recommended that you take the trip in the first place, right? So it must have been after. I don't mean to argue with you, ma'am, but you did tell us that. I think it was after. All right. I do too. Anyway, not long after that doctor ceased to treat you. And about when was that as far as time is concerned? I don't quite understand this question. Well, at the time, perhaps we can do it this way. When did you make the trip to Pennsylvania? I think it was in July or August in 73 or 74. I can't tell you. All right. And did you see another doctor between the time that you saw Dr. Horst? Now that last time and the first time you went to Dr. Turkin, I've seen Dr. O'Murray. He is the gentleman that did the acupuncture on you. That's right, sir. But other than this doctor, did you see any other doctors? I don't remember seeing any other doctors. But to get matters straight, whenever the date was of your last trip to Dr. Horst, that was the last treatment that you had other than Dr. O'Murray, up until the time Mr. Siciliano sent you to him? I think so. Have you talked to Dr. Horst at all since that last visit? Yes, I went back to the office to see him and I talked to him, yes. Did he ask you how you were doing? I don't remember what he asked me. All right. He didn't treat you though, did he? No, he didn't treat me. I didn't know what the conversation was. You don't recall your specific reason for leaving the care of Dr. Horst? I wanted another doctor's opinion to see if I had to have those surgeries or if something was to be done to get it straightened out, back on my feet and go back to work. But you say you want other doctor's opinion to see if you needed surgeries. Are you telling us that Dr. Horst told you that you needed more surgery after this accident? Yes, he did. I'm sorry, he did. He told you you needed more surgery, did he? Yes. After this accident now? After this accident, yes. All right. And exactly what kind of surgeries did Dr. Horst tell you you needed? I don't remember what kind of surgery it was. It was a spinal surgery, but I don't know what it was. He told you then that because of this accident, the one with Mr. Love, that you had re-injured yourself to the extent you needed more surgery? This is correct. And you wanted another opinion? Yes. Who sent you to Dr. O'Murray? I went by myself because one of my friends had problems and she got acupuncture and she got relief from it, so I went there. You were seeking his opinion as to whether you needed surgery or not, were you? You just went for acupuncture? Yes. So the first doctor that you sought then for another opinion was the one sent. The one that you were sent to by your attorney, Dr. Turkin. I was sent before from the state disability to a doctor who told me that I have to have surgery. All right, Your Honor, I'll move to strike that as hearsay. Your Honor, he asked the question. I think he has a right to answer it. Motion to strike denied. All right. Now, you were on state disability at that time? Yes. Okay. So you were collecting state disability up until when? Until I run out. When did it run out? I don't remember. Was it running out in 9 months, in 6 months, in 7 months? I can't tell you that. Did it run out before the end of the year following the accident? Yes, and I had a conversation with Mr. Hill about that too. All right. And was that conversation, what was it all about? He said, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of your bills and we're going to give you a fair settlement. He told you that after you told him that your disability had run out? Yes. That's the same thing he told you after you told him that the Blue Cross had run out, correct? Yes. Okay. Now the state disability amounted to what? How much did you collect in state disability? I don't remember anymore. Well, can you give us a rough idea, ma'am? No, I can't because I don't remember. If you don't remember whether it was $100 or $10,000 or $50 or any figure at all, I don't remember how much it was. Now, they sent you to a doctor. Did they tell you why? Yes, because they feel that Dr. Horst is treating me too long and doesn't do any surgery on me. That's what I was told by the doctor. And the doctor asked me, why isn't Dr. Horst putting me in the hospital and do surgery on me? All right. Now, this was the state disability doctor told you that? Yes, that is correct. And he was critical of Dr. Horst's treatment. Well, I won't say he was critical. He just told me that I have to have surgery. All right. Now, what was this doctor's name? I don't remember. When did you see him before my disability run out? Do you have any date in mind, either a month or a week or what? Any day at all that you can give me? No. You don't recall even the gentleman's first name? No, I don't recall his first or his last name. Was he an MD? Do you know? Yes, he was an MD. Where was his office? Someplace on Normandy. Do you remember the address? I think it was more close to Florence or someplace there on the east side. He examined you, did he? Yes, he did. Did he take some x-rays? I don't remember if he took x-rays or not. Did you take your file from him with you when you went there? No. Did he give you a report, anything in writing he gave to you? No. Okay. But then including this doctor and Dr. O'Murray, you've told me about all the doctors that you saw from the time you left his care to the time you saw Dr. Turkin for the first time. The State Farm sent me to Dr. Feldman and to, I don't know now the gentleman's name. All right, let's talk about this doctor for a moment. Mr. Hill arranged for you to be examined by Dr. Feldman. Yes, that is correct. And you had that examination? Yes. And did he tell you what, if anything, he found was wrong? He didn't tell me anything. Later on, you saw a copy of his report though, didn't you? Yeah, I had to ask Mr. Hill 4 or 5 times to send me the copy. And after you asked him 4 or 5 times, he sent you a copy? Yes, finally, he sent me the copy. And you were pleased, weren't you, with what the doctor found? Weren't you happy with the report when you got it? I don't think so. Okay. Why weren't you happy with the report? I don't even remember what was in the report anymore. You remember you weren't happy with it? I don't think she's testifying to that. I don't think she's said one word or the other if she was happy or not. She said, I don't think so, were the exact words. Is there a question pending? No, not really, Your Honor. All right, then let's move. All right. Dr. Feldman examined you. You got a copy of his report, and including Dr. Feldman, Dr. O'Murray, the state disability doctor, and the state disability doctor, you're now telling me about all the doctors that you saw since your last care with him, right up until Dr. Turpin. Is that right? I think so. Now, this doctor then was the only one of these doctors that treated you from the last treatment with Horst up until the first treatment with Turkin. I think so. What is your estimate of that length of time, if you can tell us, length of time that you were without treatment, with the exception of the acupuncture? I don't remember. You have no memory at all? I don't remember dates or time. Do you have a rough idea? Was it 6 months or 3 months or 1 month? I don't. No memory to that? No, I don't remember how long it was. Okay. Let's get something, and perhaps you do remember. Your last conversation with Mr. Hill. Incidentally, before I get to that, did you ever start a program with Jack LaLanne or someplace like that down in the desert, exercise type program? No, I went to Jack LaLanne's to take whirlpool and steam baths to release my pain in my back. I did not take any exercises or anything else. But you were there for the steam baths? Yes. And that was Jack LaLanne down in the desert? No, it was Jack LaLanne here. All right. And did you tell strike that. Did you tell Mr. Hill about that? Yes. All right. In fact, you told Mr. Hill about that on the day that he said, ha ha, lady, you missed the boat? No, this was before that. All right. And it's your testimony that you did not discuss Jack LaLanne or some spa like that after the year had run with Mr. Hill. I don't quite understand that question. All right. Starting point, anyone?
Yes.
Okay, start with question. And I believe you also said that 5 minutes? Question, well, when was it? 4 days a week? I'm sorry, well, when was it? 4 days, comma, a week?